So, thanks. And I had everybody with me. Yeah.
Really?
Except for the ones that... No, Ben was
Ben was with you?
Yeah.
Wow.
Everybody is with me.
Wow.
So,
I'm in your group when the zombies come, I guess.
There you go.
What about you?
Well, he's just a friendly guy. That's
that's what I'm thinking.
Yeah, you talk. Save me! Save me! Save me! Oh, I love you.
You talk about having to make the moral choices, and like sometimes you have like just boom like that to make the moral choices.
Yes.
And
So it puts you in some tight spots.
Exactly. So many times I found myself thinking, well, I may not want you in my group, but I'm not putting you out like this.
Well, I like to think. I mean, in my fantasy zombie apocalypse, because we all have one.
We do.
I like to think that I'm the magnetic leader type, and that everybody's always going to follow what I say, and that no matter what, we all stick together, and that's the rule that we will live by, and that's how we will be different than everyone else that's died in this horrifying. Yes. Yeah. So usually I tried to make the merciful decisions, the decisions that kept the most people happy. Yeah. Unfortunately, that's apparently not the way to play this game.
No, definitely.
You have to stand up and you have to take stands on certain things because people might not respect you down the line.
Yeah. Oh yeah, it's crazy. The positive, negative, positive, negative. Like, what do you want to do? Be soft.
Well, and then meanwhile you've got like the game throws curveballs at you. Like I like this person, so I'm going to do everything I can to make this person happy. And then 15 minutes later, oh, that person's dead, or oh, that person's crazy.
Exactly. That's why I was so excited when you said that Doug's with you. You can still have
Doug.
I'm playing again.
Yeah, that was great. It's such eye opening.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't share the Doug love. I was a Carly guy. She had a gun.
Yeah, totally. But Doug was the tech guy.
What was
I totally thought that he was going to MacGyver something up and.
Yeah, but you know what? Those that's really nice.
With the toothpick.
On paper, that's really nice. But he's this big robotic computer nerd, and it's like, well, now we're in the realm of making radios out of pineapples. Yeah.
Plus, like, who wants to have...
That's totally plausible.
Who wants to have two nerds in a game? We're already there.
What about you? Who's in your group?
I'm with Josh. The only person I didn't have was Kenny, and that gutted me because, like, like I said, he's my right-hand man throughout most of the game. And so, and almost every step of the way, I was like, yeah, you go get him, Kenny, I got your back, But I think it was, like everybody was saying, like they give you such limited time to make a decision. And I think the reason why Kenny didn't stick with me the whole way was way back in episode 1, where there's two characters that are put in peril, and you have to make a split decision. Do I say option A or option B?
Oh, and you stood around.
No.
No?
I chose option B, which would, in the long run, Kenny would appreciate.
Yeah.
But I'm new to my controls.
Oh, yeah.
So by the time I figured it out, I got it. I clicked it and time ran out. So then it's like you stood there and did nothing. I'm like, no, I did! And then everybody was pissed at me. And because that one thing, I think it festered,
Concerning Kenny, specifically Kenny, because he is a big part of the show. I was the same as you. I did everything to back him up. I didn't have the problem that you did with the situation you're talking about. Yeah, I managed to make him very happy, right? Very happy.
This just goes right to the toilet.
Yeah. And then later on, I backed him up. Later on, I backed him up again, and the one thing that I didn't back him up on was what we were talking about earlier, the Larry situation, right?
Right.
And I found that after that, he was so touchy with me that unless I was like, yeah, Kenny, yeah, hand jobs for you. No matter, again, I don't want to talk too much about spoilers, but at the end of in the middle of episode 3, your relationship with Kenny goes to a very real place. Kenny goes through some hard times, and you're the only one there for him. Yeah. And I thought, the way I had handled that, I thought, okay, Kenny and I, we figured it out. We're back to being buddies.
Yeah.
And then beginning of episode 4, he was a bitch again.
I know.
And nothing I could do made him happy. And at the end, it didn't surprise me that he didn't want anything to do with me.
See, now I sided with Kenny a lot during episode 1, Episode 2, I felt that Kenny he was unreasonable, and I did not side with Kenny.
Okay.
A lot of the time, I didn't side with Kenny. Yeah, but he's still with me for the...
Well, Kenny's character, like, he's really into respect, for one thing.
Yeah.
You know, he makes, when you do things like feed the kids, you know, or tell him the truth when it's hard to do, he does respect that. Like,
it's going to be a question I'm going to ask you guys after this whole thing.
Like, you pretty much have to go against him. You have to make him feel threatened, I think.
Yeah.
And that, I mean, the Larry thing is a big part of it. Pretty much anything to do with Duck is a big part of it, you know? Yeah, Kenny's a jerk. What can I say?
Cool. So, one more question and then we're going to get to rounding third base here. How do you guys find that this particular game stands up with other media type things in the zombie genre?
Like, how does it add to zombie culture?
Yeah, like how does it measure up to other things? Like you've got, like I said, the Walking Dead TV series, of course, the comic book, everything that came before it, Night of the Living Dead, and on, and even fiction novels like Zombie Survival Guide and World War Z. It seems like the whole zombie mythos is just such a big thing nowadays. So how do you guys feel that this game stacks up against all that?
I think it is, overall, I think it's a good showing for zombie culture. I mean, again, the term I use is I'm gay for zombies, because I love zombie anything. And you've got your...
Now I get it.
You've got...
Before you go, like, what?
You've got your really good stuff that adds to the zombie culture, like Shaun of the Dead. That you know, anything that expands on what's already been there. I'm very particular about how I like my zombies. I like my zombie apocalypse scary. I like my zombie apocalypse. I like it frantic. I like my zombie survivors desperate. I think what this game doesn't do well is I don't think it's a good approximation of what actually would happen in a zombie apocalypse. I think it gets some of the details.
It almost feels like it's like the leftover scraps of the zombie apocalypse.
Yeah, that's a good way of putting it. A lot of the situations they find themselves in are very fantastic. And then there's things like, you know, I don't buy into in episode 2, the whole, you know, the conflict is they meet these people that have a defensible farm, and the defense is based on an electric fence. And I had a big problem with that the whole time, because I'm thinking, you guys, it's an electric fence that runs off of a fuel generator. That is a horrible place to be, because once that fuel runs out, and fuel has a shelf life, it expires, and nobody's refining it anymore in the zombie apocalypse. So once the fuel starts to run out, that's it. You just got a fence, right? So some of the details I think are convenient for the story's sake, but it's not, you know, it's not horrific. It doesn't impede anything.
Yeah, cool.
Go ahead.
No, it's off to you.
I think that Walking Dead, video game, TV show, graphic novel, I think that it provides a very fresh perspective on the whole concept of the zombie apocalypse. I love the concept of the horror of the whole zombie apocalypse not coming from the actual zombies, but of the people you're with.
Absolutely.
That's fascinating to me, because we can put up with each other now, but well, when the zombie's knocking at our door, then well, can we deal with each other then?
Well, I think that's the most accurate thing about the game.
Yeah.
I think that's the most true thing about the game, the most relevant thing.
Yeah. So I don't have any opinions on how I like my zombie apocalypse. I don't have opinions on how I like my zombies. But
just hope it never happens.
Well, I've read Zombie Survival Guide, so
You're good to go.
I've got that plan. Yeah. So, but yeah, I love the fresh take on it. I love so much of it. I thought was just original. Yeah, good stuff.
Josh?
Like I agree with Kip. It was like spectacular that way. I really like loved all elements to it. Like it really came together just to make this one beautiful storyline where I felt like I was experiencing comic book directly out in front of me, and that's all I needed. It was simple, as anyone can play it.
Yeah.
I think this is a game that, like, it's wonderful in the sense that people, I think, will be playing it. It's one of those games that has staying power, I think. It doesn't rely on, this year's flashiest graphics or anything like that.
And it's got replayability.
Absolutely.
In such a huge way. Every time you go through, make different choices.
Absolutely.
You might end up with this, well, you'll definitely end up at the same point, but the journey from point A to point B will be completely different.
Absolutely.
Yes,
So,
sure.
My type of zombie. I think about zombies from a true medical standpoint. Like, how long can tissue contract?
I always
on a living person?
Yes.
Deteriorating cells, it's just like.
At some point, they're just going to be.
Oh man, think of how fast you'd shrivel as a living person in 71 days without eating.
Yeah.
Where's that deterioration? Because the zombies are obviously moving around and rotting and
Actually, now because I'm a nerd and because I feel the need to bring out my nerd
you're
cred,
my friends.
I do have to say that is something in the Walking Dead universe they have touched on. In the comic book, they touched on that. They haven't in the book. They've done a good job of staying away from the why are there zombies and what are they here for kind of thing. But they have
What's the cure and all
yeah,
that.
exactly. But every once in a while, there's a character that's introduced that has some sort of interest in it, and they have noticed that the zombies do seem to degrade slower than a regular corpse would.
Yeah. True enough. All right. Well, I think we're coming up to a couple of the best or the most anticipated questions. What is your favorite part of the game, or what has been your favorite part of the game? Josh, we'll start with you.
Ooh!
Yeah.
Ooh, switching it up.
Yes.
Ooh.
Oh, put him on the spot.
Lay it on us, Josh!
He's had to follow everybody at this
how
point.
about there's this one.
You can tell it in detail. At this point, spoilers are allowed and everything like that, so go nuts.
Saving Ben at the bell tower. I was proud of that decision.
It's a good way of putting it.
I was proud of that decision to keep a man
Oh, Ben's useless.
think about the fate that you're deciding for someone and they're in a depressed state. Not your call, dude. Not your call. This is this. No.
That's totally one of those really tough decisions.
Because Kenny, I said so. He parked.
Those are his words verbatim, too.
Don't need your car anymore. No, that's not there.
But no, that's a great choice. I remember playing that and feeling exactly what you're talking about. But
I surprised myself with that one because I hate Ben. I hate the guy.
Yeah.
He costs. Over the course of the game, he costs you so much.
Oh, yeah.
Most of the problems that happen episode 3 and 4 are because of Ben.
Yeah.
So I hated the guy, but I surprised myself because I couldn't let that guy die.
Yeah.
Who could? Anybody.
He's just a dumb kid, he's...
Yeah.
We'll get to that in a little bit.
Well, yeah, someone could. They're just gonna remain silent on that part.
Yeah, exactly. Kip.
My favorite part of the game, Clementine.
Yeah.
Oh,
Start to finish.
God bless Clementine.
Goes for the easy one.
Oh yes.
So good.
I caught myself rewinding or going back to make different decisions. I think a total of 2 or 3 times. The first time I did it was when, once again, big spoiler here, you've got that first St. John brother on the ground.
Oh, and the choice to kill him or not?
Exactly. Yeah. First time I did it, I knew that Clementine, well, I hadn't seen her on screen yet, so I can kill this bugger, just no worries. So I rammed that pitchfork through the lousy cannibal and turn around, boom, there's Clementine.
Now Clementine thinks you're a monster.
Yeah, you can just see that.
Yeah.
Just her perception of you has totally changed.
I don't, like,
I couldn't do it.
We were talking about this before we started rolling. I am playing the game with the story. I don't back up my choices.
Yeah.
And that was one of the rare places that I did, because Clementine's my baby girl.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's fantastically done.
Yeah.
Something to be said about testosterone, eh?
Well, you know, that's exactly what, because there are places pretty much anytime Clementine is threatened and Lee's around for it, one of the choices is fuck off.
Yeah.
And it always feels so good to pick that choice.
Yes.
You know? Yeah.
You say anything to that girl again, and I'll rip.
I will kill you. Yeah,
Yes.
exactly. Yeah.
And that's a viable choice. So Corey, what is your favorite part?
Okay, well, I do got to go overall. Clementine's a big part of it. If I had to pick a specific moment that's my favorite, the game really grabbed me at the end of middle of episode 3, where you end up having to help Kenny with his problem with his family.
Yeah.
Again, just so spoilers are off, so we know, so I can say exactly what goes on.
Yeah.
Kenny's poor son, Duck, who's I think around the same age as Clementine, he's 8 or so, gets bitten, and it's a slow burn. They try to take care of him, but they lose him, and the discussion turns towards who's going to do the deed to put Duck out of his misery. And it's horrible enough to have to sit there and listen to the two parents talk about it. And then the game gives you the choice of being the guy to take that burden.
Yeah.
And it doesn't handle it, like a lot of games, it's very, very easy for games to gloss over the issue of death and the emotional ramifications of a person dying or killing a person. This Walking Dead
Getting chokes up remembering.
Yeah, well, it's a
oh my god.
Well, and again, because spoilers are off, to make matters worse, as Mom and Dad are taking Duck to the forest to do the deed, Mom in her sorrow can't handle it, and she commits suicide. And so now poor Kenny, who's has to deal with the fact that he's losing, he's just lost his wife, also has to deal with his son who's dying, and you're the only one that can help him out. It's such a horrible, horrible place to be, and it just, I'm ashamed to call it fun.
Yeah.
I'm ashamed to say that I had fun doing it. I think I feel better if I say I was very engaged by it.
Yeah, sure enough. And you know what, truth be told, I mean, we're all saying like, ooh, spoilers and everything, and yeah, that is a spoiler and everything. But I find, like with moments like that, in particular, you can tell somebody about it, and that's all well and good. But it's different when you experience it. Even if you know it's coming, and you know what your decision is going to be ahead of time, oh my god, feeling it is so...
Exactly, like it again, and I don't want to turn mountains into molehills here, but I think maybe we get a taste in that situation of what it's like to have a loved one with a terminal illness of some kind. Knowing that there's an inevitability to it all, and that the best you can do is just make it easier by taking some of that weight, some of that pressure, right?
You want to play footsie?
No thanks.
I'll just move that then.
I do also want to give kudos, something that I really was impressed with. Just as a side, in my day job I work for the railway, and episode 3 features the whole how to start the engine thing.
Yes.
Brothers, that's how you start an engine.
Oh, that's fantastic.
No word of a lie. That is exactly this. Like, I mean, they gloss over all the extra panels and everything, but the procedure he follows is the procedure one follows to start a locomotive.
Well, that's so funny because, like, as a massage therapist, I want to tell you that if there is a zombie apocalypse, do not massage a zombie. It will not work out. Okay? They get that right in the game too.
Oh, well, that was like the first thing on my list was massage a zombie.
Gonna work your third eye. Okay, maybe not.
Gloves on or off.
Yeah, exactly. So I'll finish this one off. One thing I'll say as a general thing that I'm pretty sure we can all agree on, that I'm surprised nobody mentioned, that was a great, great, great part of this game, was at the end of every single episode, you are hit with statistics.
Yes, yes.
There are bullet points throughout the game, major choices that you have to make throughout the game. And at the end of the game, these bullet points will come up and they'll show you what percentage of people chose one way and what percentage of people chose another way. And it is staggering to see how many people chose opposite you sometimes.
It does bear mentioning, though, something that I was talking about with another friend.
Yeah.
Because I played through, like, I'm ravenous for these games, and as soon as they're released, I play them.
Yeah.
And I noticed it quite a bit with episode 4 when I finished it. The statistics were way skewed, because I was one of the first people to finish the game.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, so, you know, some of the choices were like, you and 4% of players chose this. I'm like, really?
Yeah.
Really? 4%? No, really?
Yeah.
So, I mean, that does bear mentioning, but it is a useful and cool feature nonetheless. Yeah.
Well, of course, there's always going to be, like, the gamer, which we all are. It's like, as soon as you buy Skyrim and you play that sucker for the first time, the first thing you want to do is like, woo, how can I get all my clothes off? And woo, I'm going to shoot this guy right in the testicles.
I don't want to read the quest, I want to go
I'm going to
shoot
jump
more.
off the mountaintop and see how many times my ragdoll affects you. You know, we all do that, you know. So I'm sure...
I do.
Oh, shut up. You
I never did that.
He's very prim and proper on his horse, just going everywhere.
I never read horses either.
But anyway, so the statistic thing is a huge thing, and probably, if it wasn't for this other moment, that would have been my favorite thing in the game. But my actual favorite thing about the game, or within the game I should say, was the moment, and correct me if I get the names wrong.
Sure.
In episode 3, there's confrontation between Lily and Carly.
Carly or Doug, depending on who you've saved in episode 1.
I saved Carly.
Because she's clearly the better option.
Well, it's debatable. It's debatable.
Doug all the way.
But anyway, with Carly, and I don't think you get this option with Doug, unfortunately, there is a spark of a romance potentially going on there.
And it's very subtle, right? Like, you never quite figure out if she's into you or not.
It's just like little looks, little
something
whispers
could be there, but maybe not.
And they hooked me right there. You know, I love seeing a romance kind of blossom in video games and everything like that. That's just epic. And here's what I'm building up to, is that there's an argument, a dispute between Lily, Carly, and Ben.
Yep.
As to who has betrayed the group. And you're trying to, like, fish out the details and calm everybody down, but before you know it, Lily whips out a gun and kills Carly point blank.
Before you know it is understating it.
Yeah.
It's in smack dab in the middle of
a
rational argument.
Yep.
So, like, heated, but rational.
Yep.
It just goes to 1,000 on the meter.
So all the way through my gameplay so far, I had been the guy who is trying to be the quintessential good guy. You know, I'm trying to make everything right with everybody, and everybody's my friend. I'm everybody's friend, much like in life. But I got to that point. Lily pulled the trigger, and my character throated that bitch against, like, the caravan there, and there was the option to forgive her and let her get back on the bus, or ditch her. I wanted to kill her. Like, I don't play that guy in games.
Right.
You know, I'm not the guy who goes looking to, like, assassinate everybody, you know? And I so wanted her to die, and I abandoned her to the zombies that were in the immediate
you left her behind?
I left her behind.
Okay.
I left her behind,
Cool.
and that is so out of character for me. But I think that's what I love about video games, is that they somehow find that inner piece of you that you don't, like, allow to be in public.
No matter what choice or what kind of choice you make in any given situation, you always feel like it's the right one. You never really feel like you did anything, like, unforgivable.
Yeah.
Even in the big situations, you know, you always sort of feel like, well, okay, that was the right thing to do. I can rationalize it this way.
Yeah.
You know.
But the thing is like, here's the point I'm getting to, I think, is that a video game made me discover that part of me. You know, I can't say for sure that if that ever came to pass in real life that I would make that decision. I don't know what I would do. But does that event in the video game tell me one way or another, show me a little bit about myself? And I think that the potential that a video game can pose that within you, I think that was just epic.
I think you've hit the nail on the head. I think you've answered your earlier question about what this game offers zombie culture. Because I don't think the movies do that in any real way.
Yeah.
And I'd be hard pressed to think of a zombie video game that's ever done that. So maybe you answered your own question.